Apologies. Hold on. I'm still getting everything in order. I have 2 cups of tea because I got caught out in the rain yesterday. Hello, Jaku. Hi. How are you? Good morning or good whatever time it is for you tonight. Tadai. Right now in this instant. I got caught out in the rain yesterday. I wanted to go for a walk, so went out for a walk. And then towards like the last stretch of it. Hello, Holy Ears. How are you? Welcome in. Towards the last stretch of my walk, it started to sprinkle. And I was like, oh, this is fine. Yeah, this is okay. It's just little droplets every now and then. And then it started to get heavier. And then I saw that rounding back to the car, the sky was darker, like a darker shade of gray. So I was like, oh, it's raining where the car is. So yeah, I got caught out in the rain. I don't know if I sound a little bit nasally. But yeah, I have 2 cups of tea today. One of them is I don't know what it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Chinese, I think. Some kind of herbal remedy. It's really good, really sweet. On its own too. I didn't add any sugar. And then my other tea, I didn't have time to prep my vanilla rose chai, so I'm using a tea bag. It's called like spiced dragon red chai or something. So yeah, I have 2 cups of tea. I'm fine, thank you. How are you? I'm doing all right. I woke up a little late. Actually, I woke up the normal time, but I got out of bed a little late because I was scrolling through my phone and then I saw that I saw that Urara died. I was like, no. It's the racehorse from Japan, I think. And Urara Haru, thank you for the hydrate. I will. I have 2 cups of tea and then my how many ounces is this? My 40-ounce water bottle. I have a lot of ways to hydrate. Let me drink, I think the herbal one. It's still too hot. The herbal one, it was supposed to only be at 175 maybe? But I ran out of time, so I just boiled everything to 212, which is boiling. Yeah. So I just boiled the water and used them both. For the herbal one, you're not supposed to take it to boiling because oh well, then I guess I did some things. Whatever, it's fine. They're both hot, which is what I need, I guess. So we're gonna continue. I'm pretty sure I handled the boss fight last time, yesterday. Yeah, handle the boss fight, and then everything else after that, I think I was supposed to go somewhere else. So we'll see if I even remember. Let's go. Thank you for the hydrate. I hope you're hydrating as well. You guys, all of us need more water. I see so many people saying they forget to drink water and they just drink coffee or energy drinks. Or I knew someone who didn't like drinking water. They didn't like that they said it tasted weird and they needed like a flavor to be able to drink water. And I'm just like, what? Okay. I think I was supposed to go into my room. Yeah, I remember getting off here and then I was like, no, I'll stand over here and face my room. Yeah, okay, let's go there. But I want to repair this car, so we're gonna drive the car or the truck into here and then go into a room. Dang, I like the gold. The gold on purple is kind of nice. Oh yeah, we are bloody. The path you laid down was used by someone else. Nice. I still want to build these roads too. I want to build roads. It can help just to chug a bottle of water a couple times during the day. There was someone I knew. I wasn't in the military, but I was exposed to a lot of people in the military. So there was some guy in the military who carried around 2 jugs. Maybe it was just one. 2-gallon jugs of water, you know, like what the milk jugs come in. He carried one of those or 2 of those around and would like do curls with it and then drink it throughout the day. Oh, I think I have mail. That's what it was. Why scary sound? Nothing scary in here, right? Right? Yeah, we need a shower. Check for BTs in your shower before getting in. Lots of EX grenades. 10? Is it because I bled so much? Just really needed that shower, huh? What is in that box? It's so curious. Shall we change our color out of purple? Customizable backpack. It has to be a color that the other ones can be changed to. Like this one can only do these, but I think my other ones have more color in them. Wonder why. I wonder who I gotta do quests for to get colors for that. Okay, let's read some letters. I don't know if I should be reading so early. Alright, I have 4. Oh, I have 4 mail and 3 interview datas. William Lake, Middle Knot City got nuked. What? You probably heard. The Middle Knot City was nuked about a year back. Civilians, staff, everyone and everything gone in the blink of an eye. They said it was a terrorist attack. Demons and their thing. Assholes. Fragile got caught up in the whole mess somehow too. Though I wasn't privy to the details. Long story short, they started screening deliveries a whole lot more thoroughly. Not that it made a difference. It was one tragedy after another. We lost half of South Knot City not long after that. Half's better than all, but a whole lot of people still died, and it shook the rest up pretty bad. They started to wonder if joining the UCA wasn't the worst choice they ever made. And the more people said it out loud, the more paranoid they got. It festered and spread, that thinking, beyond the city even. Not that it takes much for your average prepper to buy in. You might think becoming a part of the chiral network would have helped calm things down a little, but we still don't have a handle on the terrorists. It could all fall apart at any moment, but if it does, we can't let it break us. Even if everything you've built, everything we've built breaks down, we've got to do what we can to patch it up. That's all there is to it. Good job, William Lake. Good job keeping the hope up. The great deliverer delivers a mule beatdown. Hi, Miswa. How are you? I'm a little still sleepy. Took a while for me to get out of bed. Hey, Sam. I feel like I finally understand why they call you the Great Deliverer. After all, you're the one who dealt with the mules who were blocking the route between my shelter and Lake Knot City, right? I mean, you must have been... Oh my goodness, the cats. No one else could have managed that, especially all by themselves. I feel a bit pathetic just cheering you on from the sidelines, but I guess that's all I can do. Good luck. You'd think these people would be like, hey, Sam's dealt with these guys before, let me go help him now. You know, after the first couple times I clear out a mule base. Peter Engelert, a desperate plea for a second pizza pie. Yeah, I'll get you another pizza pie. They didn't join the network before, right? My dear Mr. Sam Bridges, it is I, Peter Englert, the world's foremost connoisseur of the delicious pizzas you so faithfully deliver. Though my impudence would shame the very devil himself, I regret I must entreat you to bring me another of these delectable dishes. This time from South Knot City. I am expecting company, a sweet couple of whom I am intensely fond. They insisted that they be allowed to take the air, but with the wilderness being so very dangerous, I refused to entertain the thought. Alas, while we will be remaining indoors, I am incapable of preparing anything but the most base and disagreeable cuisine. And so I must place myself at your mercy yet again, lest the poor dears starve. Oh gosh, it's up to us, guys. It's up to us. 11 and 10 voice acting. He talks the way they write this. You kind of have to read it this way, you know? Where was I? While I already have, I am very much aware, gone far above the bound of common decency in making this request, I must compound my sins in stipulation. The pizza in question must be topped with the bacon of the incomparable Iberico pig? Bacon pizza, got it. The craftsman, the age of printed nukes. I used to have this prepper friend, an older guy, who'd talk about how the good old days before the Stranding, 3D printing was all the rage. 3D printing was all the rage apparently, and the tech could be used to spit out pretty much anything you could think of, even the most complicated stuff. Didn't take long for the first gun to be printed. 3D printed guns. I hear they're useful against CEOs. I'm sorry. That was all you had to do was input the right data, and you had yourself a firearm. People didn't think much of it at first. Just kids messing around and all that. But it didn't stop there. Printed guns became printed bombs, and printed bombs became printed nukes. How do you get... Don't they require, like, chemicals, though? Nukes? Right? Can you print chemicals? Illegal as hell, of course, but the government couldn't do anything to stop it. If you've got no idea who's packing a nuke, the best course of action is to make sure you're packing one yourself, right? That's how people thought back then anyway. Mutually assured destruction for every honest citizen. People saw enemies everywhere, terrorists, sleeper cells, all that shit. And then there was the explosion. The Death Stranding had nothing to do with the nukes, of course. But people were pretty quick to jump to the wrong conclusion. Almost everybody assumed it was terrorism. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, this old timer, he didn't want anything to do with other people. He just wanted to shut himself in his shelter and be left alone. Same! Dang, am I gonna be a prepper? No, I can't even prep my first meal of the day. I don't eat until after stream. He was scared everything that came before had led to a world filled with weapons. I could see where he was coming from, thinking society and government were doomed to fail. But I'm more optimistic. As long as we remember the mistakes of the past. Whoa. As we strive for a brighter future, I believe we can prevent another explosion. Guess what I'm saying is, I'm fully aware of the risks, but I think we've got to give the UCA a shot. Alright. Okay. These guys are hopeful. So what I'm learning is, giving everyone access to weapons is mutually ensured destruction. Is that what the phrase was? Mutually assured destruction. Yep. let's read some data. Die Hardman. The situation after the first Death Stranding incident. There was a series of huge explosions. Well, not so much a series. They were simultaneous, worldwide. The global comms infrastructure was shot to hell, but we salvaged what we could and tried to make sense of what had happened. Okay, so there's like billions of people in the world. If so many people died and we're all stranded now and there's a lot less of us, like there's a lot of people in America, right? Like, shouldn't the entirety be craters? And the only part that doesn't have craters is like where people don't live or didn't live, right? Like right? And even then there's like people camping out in what is it called? In national forests and stuff. Far away from civilization. And then yeah, I feel like the entire US would be a massive crater. What did I read? Since it happened, it didn't seem like much at the time, but it was a hell of a lot better than what we have now. Anyway, the government figured the whole thing was a terrorist attack at first. We'd been dealing with a lot of those back then, but it didn't take long to see that this was something else. The craters left by the blast were bizarre. There was no rubble, no dust, which led the scientists to rule out meteor strikes. There was trace neutron radiation, alpha waves, but we knew it wasn't nukes either. So the explosions were like nukes that weren't nukes. Nuke-like. Some of the particles we detected we'd never even seen before, beryllium, although we didn't know it at the time. The more we studied them, the more our scientists came to the same conclusion. These were the results of annihilation events. It was right about the time the chiral clouds started to form, and after that, all communication with the outside world went down for good. What about the satellites? You know? Was it the clouds that are blocking the satellites? What? I'm so lost. No blue in the inverted rainbow. We humans are complex, multicellular organisms. 60 trillion cells inside each one of us, they say. Sorry, I like kicked my phone. I kicked something. How many of these cells need to die for us to consider a person dead? Are there any cells in particular which determine whether a person is alive or dead? These questions are academic, of course. The exact point of death can't be calculated using cell counts. On the other hand, no one can deny the existence of degenerative diseases that gradually destroy more and more cells, leaving their victim effectively half dead. And what about me? Most of my organs have been harvested from other people. Oh. I didn't know that. Is Dead Man like Frankenstein? Frankenstein's monster? They still work, of course. But could their original owner have been said to be alive? I really don't know. Incidentally, have you ever heard of a fun little experiment they once did with roundworms called C. elegans? These creatures are notable for glowing bright blue when exposed to UV light. Oh, where is it? But only when they die. It seems to be a reaction from the anthranylic acid within the organism, and it's known as death fluorescence. Yep, that's right. Blue is very much the color of death, it seems. Whoa. Can it therefore be a coincidence there's no blue in an inverted rainbow. Timefall strengthens an area's connection to the beach. This is something to do with the chiral particles becoming excited, I believe. In spaces connected to the beach, electromagnetic waves with a blue wavelength can travel easily through the seam, leaking out onto the beach. Some people think that's where the blue from the inverted rainbow goes. Who knows? The fact that blue has a strong connection to death, though, that much seems pretty inarguable. No, the only thing in my head right now is that I fought that boss fight and I didn't get any chiral crystals out of it. Giant BTs from Hartman. The following assessment is based entirely on eyewitness testimony. Be advised that none of these claims have been independently verified. There are several types of BT, and that means by which they interact with the living also varies. Some BTs actively seek out human beings, while others attempt to draw us towards them. Still, others are capable of consuming their prey, causing a void out in the process. It's not only their roles and behavior that set them apart, however. Their physiology is also different. Moreover, we have anecdotal evidence suggesting the existence of some truly enormous BTs. Curiously, however, these ones do not appear to have umbilical cords. Giant BTs are comprised of the consolidated ka of multiple deceased individuals. As a result, the connection between each individual and their beach is lost, which is why the resulting BT does not manifest an umbilical cord. That's the theory, at any rate. Unfortunately, I doubt we'll be able to learn more about these entities until the chiral network is online, a day that can't come soon enough. Thank you for the head pats. Okay, so I feel like that all went in one ear and out the other. It's amazing how much information I can go through and not retain any of it. I'm sure it'll come back to us. All right. Let's go with the hat again. Hat. We'd have to change a lot of our colors now that we've turned everything purple. I think we're good. Oh, there's something new in the equipment rack. I don't know what it is. Oh, wait. Oh. Ooh. I'm turning this purple just in case we ever decide to wear it again. And then we'll go. So we met the guy in our little things. I wonder if we're gonna have new visions. Come on. I can move around. Oh no, I can't.
I got caught in the rain.
I think we've seen this one already. We've seen this one, right? Oh yeah, I remember that part. Okay, meet up with Mama in her lab. Where's Mama's lab? Oh. Okay. Okay. I didn't want to go in there in case her lab was in there, but it's not. Okay. Oh, this is urgent. I'll do it later. I don't want to go to the cosplayer. It's so... Ooh. That's a lot of stuff. I want to do that myself. Wait, I think one of these can be done by a bot. This one. Yeah, BTs don't care about bots. Or maybe they do and they just can't kill them. Or void outs can't happen when they die. The power legs make his silhouette look funny. I like it. Makes him... Whoa. What's all that? What? Some of these are mine! Wait, these are all my stuff. Ah. Yo. Did I not get these yesterday? Bruh. Look at me just littering out here. Okay, hold on. Can we optimize this? Okay. Good. Jesus. Give me my blood bags. All these other things can stay out here. Is this Granada unused? No! Oh, okay. Okay. Everything else is used. What? Oh. Sorry to litter. All these extra guns. I wonder if I'll need them. If I kill somebody, do I have to take their body to the incinerator? Cause is there even an incinerator in this part of the map? Look, somebody left one of these trucks out there. Can I ride one of these? Okay. Is this Mama's? No. Mama's is further. We'll take the road. What are these? Oh, this is just somebody's truck that they didn't color? Oh, it's raining. What does this need? Hi, Usin. How are you? They tried to toss me out. They're like, take your things and go. Whole breakup situation. Oh, I have so much metals. What? Take all these medals. These aren't for a quest, surely. This looks like it's for a quest. I think it's the one that was like somebody else's and I was supposed to give it back. No, you can have it. Man. There we go. Okay, now chiral crystals. Take as much as you need. Now, ceramics. Somebody's gonna have to figure that out because I don't know where to get ceramics. Somebody's car is in the rain. Okay. Where are you, Mama? Mama! Just around this corner. No BT is here, hopefully. Gosh, it's a lot of rain. I mean, she's here. Oh, right there, maybe? Charge my car. In here. She doesn't have those scanny things. It's like weapons restriction bada bada. You know? Oh. Cutscene? Mama? No! Mama? Are we gonna lose Mama? Another?
Don't worry, Sam. It's over tight. Bye, Benny.
She looks so clean. Oh, episode 5.
He's hungry.
Do you feed her humans? What? Just float along now. I was connected to her.
Going through the motions really helps with the swing and stuff.
What is she?
She's my daughter. And I'm her mama. It's okay. She's only connected to me. Not like the other babies.
Okay.
You can see it, right? They're hooked up.
Squinting, trying to make her out. I was so ready to throw. Can't hear the audio. I was so ready to throw a granada.
So about the supercell.
I know. How now?
Do you think the grown-ups could talk for a minute?
The
Thank you.
baby just wants to
Look at this.
wants to meet the other baby.
This was the chiral density when the supercell appeared. But almost immediately after, it dropped to normal levels. In other words, the storm vanished in less than a
Sorry, I
second.
didn't realize it was
That's impossible.
down.
Okay, let's pull the data from your cufflinks and take a look then.
still cold. Sam's cold.
Well, that's all pretty crazy, but at least you're not. Timestamps in the logs support your story. Best guess I can muster is you were trapped between 2 different spacetimes.
2 different space times.
HQ is doing a deeper analysis. All they've got to work with is the frequency spectrum, but
Jeez, these
with a
guys
little
work
effort,
fast.
they should be able to figure out where you were sent. Another chiral spike. She's been crying more at night.
It's
Chiral
bright out
density
though.
increases in regions connected to the chiral network, but the numbers are way higher than I projected.
That's bad, right?
Yeah, more connections means more chiralium. Early on, Bridges did acknowledge this as a potential problem, so I installed special limiters in the Cupids to keep the chiral levels in check. Looks like the limiter on yours is faulty, though.
Huh.
The supercell and the temporal phenomenon that you experienced may be related to all this.
Are you saying if I keep extending the network, we might be in for more temporal phenomena?
Maybe.
They're giving me faulty gear.
Or worse. They cause another death stranding.
Oh, great.
But you got a solution.
Of course I've got a solution. Right over here, in fact.
That's why there's a second game, right? Oh.
We just need to integrate a limiter into this new Cupid I threw together. Thought I'd make you one since you said you were coming.
Okay. Do I have to go back?
Great. Crisis averted.
No, crisis not averted. We need to rewrite the software to work with the new hardware.
Well, then get to it.
Yeah,
Get to it.
no can do. I designed the hardware, but the software was written by someone else.
Well,
Great.
where can we find them?
Her. The name's Lochna. She was a member of Bridges 1.
Oh.
You'll have to head to Mountain Knot City.
All right, I gotta take a Cupid there anyway.
Oh, good. That's great. Here we go again. I don't know what's gotten into her lately. She's so scared. Look at her.
Let her go.
Maybe the other side wants her back.
Oh, that's not the infant from earlier. Oh, it is now. Okay.
Or maybe she wants to go back.
What if that's not even your baby?
We can't keep on like this. That much I know.
Thank you for the stretch.
You wanna tell me what happened?
Ow, I popped my elbow.
She was due. I was in the hospital waiting for our C-section. Then the terrorists hit us.
Good stretch. Backstory? Backstory?
Hello? Is anyone there?
I was pinned under the rubble. Nothing to do but wait. And wait.
She's getting rained on.
But no one came. They said air and water.
Oh, just regular water.
Can someone help me, please?
I don't know how many days went by. The water ran dry, and the cold set in. I gave birth there in the rubble. But instead of bringing life into the world, I brought death.
Right.
When the time felt stopped, my baby started to cry. She cried, cried, cried. Her life was the price I had to pay to survive. She saved me.
Over here! Get him out of there! Get him out of there, guys! Come on! Dennis! Dennis, come on! Just a little bit further. Hold on! Hold on!
Over here! I'm over here!
And we've been together ever since.
I have questions.
She's a BT. The ties that bind her to this place bind me too. You could say I've never really been discharged.
And you're okay with that? I mean, you know she's gone. You want to live your life in the shadow of the dead?
Come on. You, of all people, you chose the dead over the living. Why else would you be here? I just remembered. Dead men told me repatriates have special blood. Mind if I take a sample?
He's not here willingly.
Yeah, sure. Suck me dry. You already bleed me in my sleep. Bit cold, ain't you?
Just a second. There. All done.
Oh.
I want her on a test.
Oi.
Are you?
I'm sorry, Sam. Would you mind leaving us alone for a while?
Yeah. I gotta get to work.
Okay.
Sam? Hey, forget what I said about chiral spikes. Reconnecting the world comes first. Maybe we're making things worse. Maybe not. But it's the only plan we've got. Good luck, Sam.
Bye-bye. Jeebus. So, was the baby the one not letting her be
Sam,
affected
the
by
delivery
temple?
terminal outside still works. Go ahead and get it connected. I'll give you further instructions from there.
Oh my gosh. We have so much stuff on our back. Let's go.
Sam, your next
Am I
objective
missing
is to
stuff?
bring Mountain Knot City into the network. Now, this route will take you to a way station and on to a distro center north of the city. From there, it gets tricky. You'll have to take a detour to get around the mountains.
Still want me using this Cupid on the way? Software's not been rewritten yet.
It's fine. If you link up Mountain Knot City after your Cupid is fixed, the update should filter through the network, stabilizing the connection. It's just one more reason to get there ASAP. But for now, make do with the Cupid you've got.
Any word from Mama Lee?
None. We'll just have to hope she's all right and keep going. It's what she would want. Anyway, check in at Lake Knot City's Southern Distro Center before you hit the road.
Yeah,
Good luck
yeah.
out there.
By the way, Sam,
She's right there.
I've added the zipline schematic to your PCC.
A zip line.
It would come in handy. All you need to set one up is at least 2 anchors. Why bother carrying cargo across a river or up a steep hill when you can just send it through the air? Am I right? If you want a little hands-on experience, you can use the anchors outside my lab. Have yourself some fun.
The good news is, Fragile's available and willing to lend you a hand. If you want Fragile to send you, you'll need to head to a private room.
Send me
South Knot
where?
City looks closest from what I can see. It'll be a lot quicker than walking, that's for sure. But
Send
you
me
can't
where?
take any cargo with you, so there's that. It's up to you. Just remember the options there if you need it.
Where? What? I am confusion. Okay, hold on. Send me where? Send me here? Or can she send me here? What do you need, Mama? Rare mineral resources. Yeah, I can do that. I need to go back there anyway.
Did I tell you we added a zipline option to your PCC?
Yes.
Because we did. Build a few anchors and link them with a line to travel from A to B in record time. Give it a try.
I've finished my herbal tea. And I still have my chai. And my water. I've become one of those people that have 3 drinks. One for energy, one for business, and one for pleasure. Though all of these are for business, I guess. Okay. Creates an anchor, 2 of which can be connected in order to create a zip line, enabling rapid travel from one end to the other. Level 1 zipline anchors can be placed up to 300 meters apart. Ziplines can be very useful for quickly traveling over steep slopes or rocky terrain. Vehicles and multiple linked floating carriers cannot travel via zipline. Got it. So there is a point where I have to abandon my vehicle. I have one, so I'm good. I have everything I need. I don't know what the sticky... I don't know if I need a sticky gun. I don't know if I need all of this either. I'm good. Oh, they're giving me one. Got it. Or they're giving me 2. Got it. I'm just gonna use my truck. Is it still raining? It is still raining. All 4 containers of scattered... Alright. Someone lost their power skeleton thing. Okay, it's gone now. Right here. Oh, it's where the cosplayer is. What is this? Is this a zipline? What is this supposed to be? Oh, it's made by Mama. It should be the one she's talking about. Use zipline. Oh. Okay, that just gets you back to the... God, that's scary! That was scary. Alright, it's outside the cosplayer's place. Whoa. Not sure where. I want these medals though. So we're going right here. Yee! I can drive. Oh my goodness. Look at the rust on that. Jeez. It feels like the timefall is getting a lot stronger. Alright, so I can't go what the helly? Did someone also leave their truck behind? The fact that their truck is still here should be a red flag, right? Like, they didn't come back for it. Why can't I use this rope? Grab rope. Right. Oh, it's not raining. Lovely. That means it's safe. I fully believe that I can get back onto my truck from here. Lovely. Alright. Whoa now! Don't just keep running. Okay. Maybe I should set up my own rope. Yeah. Let's use our anchor thingy. I just hope it can all fit on my back. Whoa, okay. Is that part of it? No. Stop. I made BB happy. Oh. Look, somebody's truck. Did they, not make it? One out of 4. The thing is, if I get in the water, it's... Bruh. Is there any here? Are they mostly across the way? How do I cross the river? How do I cross the river? Is this person's car functional? Hey, can I borrow this vehicle? Ooh. That's a bait. No likes. How do we cross the river? Shall we go for the bait? What happened last time I went into the yellow? I was gonna make a video of I was gonna cut up clips of the time that I went in there into the water and failed miserably. But I forgot. It would have been useful. Had I made it, I would have known if yellow was dangerous. Where did I put my rope? So hard to see. We're going around. We're gonna do this the safe way. You're right, it is a bait. I think I did fall in yellow. Late's playing. You can release the rope now. Okay. Threw it down the hill. Like a proper explorer. Can I use this again? Yeah! I don't know why that one time it wouldn't let me. Put all my medals in there. I hope I throw this rope down properly too. Do I get to like it twice because I used it twice? Oops. We're right at the edge of where it rains too. Okay. This way is just more water. I have no idea what this is, but it doesn't look like I can cross that with my car. So, what we're gonna do is go up here. Right around here. We're just gonna go the long way. It's fine. It's okay. I saw like an XL sized cargo thing down there for the cosplayer. But I didn't grab it. Ooh, more medals. Medals are important. Why does my truck look so bad? It's only been in the rain for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Oh, I guess I did that whole cutscene with Mama. Okay. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, maybe I should take this back to the garage.
That's a big one.
Is it a timefall storm? Should we go back? Degrade cargo containers more quickly than showers. What? What do you mean? The thing is like right there. Are you saying if I go the long way, there's gonna be...
Have a pleasant journey.
Oh, you guys. Why did somebody make a shelter right there?
Scanning bridges. Verifying ID. Welcome to South Knot City. Proceed to distribution center.
I wonder if there's something over there. Whoa!
Decontaminating suit. All clear.
Just let me repair my truck. Let me repair my truck, and then we go. I want a pretty brand new truck for when we leave. And hopefully it won't be raining anymore. Check your showers for BT. Time passed. Truck repaired. Okay. creepy sign. Alright. I forgot to put things on. Alright, it's fine. I have new orders? I can't take new orders yet. I have to get the thing. Alright. So we're going... What we kind of did was like go this way. You know, skirt along the edges and then this way. But if we go straight through here... Because this is BT territory. Pretty sure. How do we see? South? Not? I'm here. Oh no. How do I see the stuff? How did I do it before? No. No. What? How do you do it? How do you see when it rains? Cycle map T. Oh, the collector. I haven't gotten that guy yet. I don't even know what's there. It's raining. I just have to make it through here. And if I fight things along the way, so be it. I just have to get to here. Let's go. I can fight BTs. I have a gun.
Good morning, Sam. Weapons restriction.
Prayed for good weather. I already know the weather. Okay, where? I'll just go straight here. Haha, just straight through here. What if I... What? Is it gone or... What? I don't get it. Is it gone or is it still there? You're confusing me, man. Okay, I'll take company. Straight up this rocky mountain. Ah! Okay, yeah, sure. Sure. Ah, let me go. Okay. We can do this. We've done this before. Oh wait, where are you taking me? Where are you taking me? Can I use the rifle on it? I missed. he missed, he missed, he missed. High ground, high ground, high ground. Higher? Even higher ground? Bruh! Stop missing! Where is it? Okay. 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 He was like, I don't like your high ground. Hey. Where? Ah! Just kidding, I'm not standing there. Oh hey, an EX grenade. Thanks, I'm using my gun though. It's kind of slow. Run, 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 run. It's a good thing he misses just as much as I do. I know. Oh. Eat my blood. Yeah! Take the rain with you. Oh wait, Cairo crystals. Hee! What's going on? Crystals! Teehee! GG's. I kind of like fighting it, but I did start speaking Tagalog, so I think I did get stressed a little. Ellie is stressed when she starts speaking other languages. Oh boy, that's a lot of fish. Anyone hungry? Oh, my truck is all the way over there. Alright, let's get rid of some stuff. Offload. There was like a guy helping out. You know? Little hologram guy. I'll take these grenades. Actually, I don't need the grenades. I have so many grenades. I'll take the blood bag though. All things considered. Am I supposed to be doing that more frequently, I wonder? Just to... help with the weather?
There we go.
Lots of crystals here. Well, now we're not in much of a rush. Oh my goodness, look at my truck. Tea. It's no longer raining. Lovely. Oh, it is. Have I been lied to? Let's unpack, unload. Oh my god. How do you even see out of this? I'm gonna go back here because I saw this. And I was like, I've got medals for you. find crystals now. What was that guy? It was like a hologram that throws stuff to help you.
Nice.
It was in the first boss fight that we had also did that too. It was there too. So I think that instance is like the same map. Have all my medals. I just really need. Oh my god. My poor truck. It's not purple anymore. Looks like a white ghost. It's like a hologram of somebody. Somebody's helper. It gives you like free stuff to use in the fight. I wonder if it is somebody's or if it's like the game, because I'm in normal mode. Oh boy. I can cross that, yeah. Jump. Yeah, oh, okay. You see this road? Yeah, let's take it. Wait, can this? Is there a repair here? You think? You think? Let's take a shower. I'll just come back out and it's raining again. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, he's dirty. Rolled around in gunk. Oh please, why would you sleep like this? I know that if other players die, it can affect your game. What? What? How the heck?
EX grenade number.
Why are you pointing at it, Sam Porter Bridges? Friend? Not friend. Not friend. Not friend. I have goosebumps. The hairs on my body are standing on end. Okay, fine. Cautiously approach. We just took a shower. If my tracking disappears, it's because I'm covering my eyes. What the hell? Does he not know how to get to his beach? Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. So that was that. Glad I didn't miss that. The first couple times. Oh, I think it's so tall. Hold on. Let's auto arrange this. What do we have? So much stuff. Okay. Still going this way. Is it when other players die, it gets like rain-y? Bruh. I just had to go and talk about the rain. So, I already fought the stuff. Do I really need to go through this again? Let me go. Please. Ooh. Wait. Time has passed. Yeah, but I mean, you know. I would have thought. The car could have made it. Right down here, I think. My post box is deteriorated. It's fine. No one uses those. I sure don't. Is it for people who like get off the game like out in the open? Oh, how am I gonna get down there? Okay. That's an oddly shaped rock. Maybe it's just raining and there's no BTs, right? It's not a storm anymore. Watch me prove myself wrong. We're fine. We're okay. Hey, I should have probably made more anchor points, huh? What an oddly shaped rock. Is there a way down? Maybe this way? Yeah. Let's just get out here. Yup. Grab the rope. Grab the rope. Sandboard bridges! Sandboard bridges, don't do this to me! Grab the heckin' rope, Sandboard bridges! What does recover the rope do? I don't want to recover the rope. Last time I did that. Bruh. Can I? I am going to hurt something. Hey. Maybe it works out. Yeah, okay. Did I have 2 of those? I have time. I have more. I have more. Right? No, no, no. Oh. Oh. Okay. This way. This way? Yeah, that works out. Totally just didn't. Almost accidentally bust my face. Now we know what happened to that one truck owner. Alrighty, here we go. Here's some shelter from the rain. Oh, go, go, go.
Keep it together.
It's a lot of stuff. I'll get it on the way up. See, that's way too far. From this side, at least. Cannot be projected during... Yep. Okay, so I can't use those in the rain. That's a big one. When people die, is that what the crystals are from? Maybe? When other players die there?
Nice.
You're fine, you're fine. Yeah. Gotta get back to the truck. You see that jump ramp over there? Somebody is trying to get someone killed. Should I take these ceramics? Of course. Duh. Why wouldn't I? Now let's arrange ourselves. It didn't change much. The bottom of these cliffs. Listen, I survived. If I survived these cliffs. Everyone else should too. Alright, how did I get up there? Is it right here? Where's my truck? Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Oh. Are we gonna Minecraft? Not Minecraft. Skyrim horse this? But I do remember doing this with my my Minecraft horse too. Maybe not. Just hug the wall. Sam Porter Bridges. Hug the wall, Sam Porter Bridges. Where's the rope? Oh, it's right there. Yeah! Remember your Skyrim horses and your... We don't talk about my BDO horses. They lived a good long life in the mountainside retirement home. Horse home. Is my truck damaged? Guys, I think I'm losing it. No. My truck may be damaged, but it works. I swear. We just need to get it back to... Where did I go? Here? Where did I rest at? I rested somewhere. It's all the way here? Oh god, please. I know how to back up. Yeah! Why is it raining so much? Jeebus. It wears down so fast. Yeah, enough with the rain already. Hey, don't give me those faces, alright? My horses were happy in the eugenics breeding program. I found a game on Steam and it was like a dynasty. No. You're not running out. You're fine. Is that a shelter? That's a bridge. Oh, that's a shelter. What? Is that a shelter? That's a bridge. What is that? Right there. Okay, whatever. We just go. We go home. Go towards home. Wherever that is. This looks familiar. There it is! Rescue! I remember if it replenishes my battery or not, but we're going down here. Enter. Private room, please.
Your work is greatly appreciated.
Did you like the water park sim? I do and I don't. I feel like I get tired of it really fast. Kind of like how the cats are sleeping together. Kind of like the supermarket simulator, and I was kind of like over it after a while. I feel like that. I do like management sims, so I feel like the Dynasty game I'd like. It's about it's like a city builder, and you manage a dynasty, so you like build where people are gonna live and their specialties and stuff. Let's put something on. Let's put a hat. I feel like we haven't worn the hat yet in a while. Cats are eating together. They're so cute. I want to take a picture. Oh. Is it first person? No. It's it's like a city builder management sim, so you're looking at the map. Oh, it's not raining. How's our yes, our battery's full. It charged it for us. Lovely. BT sign. It's fine. I killed them once, I can kill them again. Straight this way. Unless this is where I came from. Yep, I'm going the wrong way. This is kind of a road. Very steep road, but a road nonetheless. I wonder if like the more stuff we have in our truck, the harder it'll be to get up these hills. Oh. This way looks safe. You're fine. You're fine, Sam Porter Bridges. Look, no BTs. Yay. It's so sad that nobody has built these.
Someone's happy.
Jeebus. This one needs a lot. Okay, I'll give you all my Cairo crystals. Because I am a good Samaritan. Teehee. Everybody contribute. We still didn't play the medieval market. When can we all get together? Timing's really hard. Maybe Saturday? Wait, no. I don't think it'll be available this weekend.
Have a pleasant journey.
Oh no. This poor person's truck. Oh god. Get a hold of yourself. I just have a little bit of ceramics. I wonder if people build these and then they just deteriorate and lose structure. People have to keep donating. There's no way these are these aren't built yet.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Welcome to South Knot City. Proceed to distribution center.
Distribution center. Somebody dropped a blood bag there too. See, it's not just me.
All clear.
I'm not the only irresponsible one. I also really want to play that. We need a time. Shared memory chip data. How's the audio, by the way? Like, I increased the gain on mine. I messed with audio again, sorry.
You're a saint, Sam. Thank you.
I increased the gain, so I might be a little bit louder. Dune happened. That's true. I gotta check today. Today's update. Following data cannot be viewed. Ride. Reverse trike ride type?
Thank you for
We
your
just...
contribution.
That's cool. We got a new bike. And now Dune again. I'm sorry. Next time we watch Star Trek.
Always happy to get one, let me tell you.
Everybody hydrate real quick.
Whoa, it's like fresh from the printer or something.
You're welcome. Chemicals can now be used at the UCA affiliated facilities. The amount of materials that can be used in South Knot has increased. Chemicals? Defensive reverse trike? Handgun level 2.
With the help of the Chiral network, we've recovered experimental data which should provide a boost to our ongoing research and development initiatives. As a matter of fact, we've already made one breakthrough that can be applied to our weapons programs.
Yes.
Hematic rounds, anti-BT ammunition that utilizes the unique properties of your own blood.
Ooh.
However, it's important to remember that with each shot fired, you'll be expending a small quantity of your own blood.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the situation, you may be better off switching back to conventional ammo. Further details can be found in the list of equipment available for fabrication.
And just swap ammo? Okay. Nice. Defensive truck. Time to get rid of our truck. Wait, can we store more stuff or do we lose? An additional autonomous delivery bot can now be used. I wonder if I can run after it, you know? 94% damaged. But I'm still leveling up, so it's okay. Isn't it Dune update day? It is!
Like Sam. We're always happy to make time for you.
Oh god. See, they can't be real if you can pause them mid-sentence.
Please access delivery terminal for further information.
I am suspicious. To the cosplayer. Hard wearing underwear. No thanks. That's gonna be a bot delivery. Sorry. You're gonna have 94% damaged underwear. But they're not real if you can stop time. Yeah, right? If I can like make them freeze. Urgent. Pizza. Got it. I'll get your pizza. Keep flat. If it's in my truck, it's flat technically, right? Technically, right? Hold on. I want to fabricate that defensive truck. Improved version of the standard truck. 6 electromagnetic shield units have been added. This reduces the... Please start over. Reduces truck's cargo capacity, but provides a powerful protective field. As long as the battery is sufficiently charged, damage, gunfire, and other impacts is reduced, and electro attacks are neutralized, making the truck much harder to destroy. Be aware, however, that this will still be vulnerable to falls from high places. So there's fall damage. Got it. Okay. So I don't need that. Oh.
That firearm can be loaded with hematic rounds. It's fitted with a dot sight as well. Should improve your aim.
Thanks. Were you saying my aim was bad? Should I get one? I feel like we have a lot of weapons. I'll get one. Because I used up... Yeah, I used up one handgun earlier. Dot sight check. What is this? Ride... Custom reverse trike inspired by the TV show Ride with Norman Reedus. Fitted with an additional... I can't read that fast! Fitted with an additional onboard battery and an electromagnetic shield unit. Although these are much less effective than carrying separate extra battery and shield units, they maximize battery capacity. They maximize battery capacity while allowing you to carry 6 medium-sized pieces of cargo. So it's better than the regular reverse trike. Okay. This one will carry less, but it's more defensive. Do I even need that? It's really only against mules, but I can take down mules just fine. Yeah, no. I do think we need... Oh, I have 1 climbing anchor, 1 ladder, 3 PCCs. Why do I have 3 PCCs? I have 8 blood bags. That's like double what I need. She's increasing your accuracy of your gangster side turn shooting style. What do you mean? Okay, I don't need... Oh yeah, I do need that one. Just one. Just one more gun. I don't need... What's wrong with my climbing anchor? Maybe I do need a climbing anchor. Okay. Do we have letters to read? I should probably get new shoes. Data. Memory chip. Whoa. Oh. Cool. Mail. Owen Southwick. Fragile's name isn't Mud anymore. Hey, Sam. South Knot City lives to see another day, eh? I remember the bomb those bastards set off before. People said Fragile was working with them, but they had it backwards. She was trying to save us, just like you did. Fortunately, this time everyone knows her part in it. Fragile's name won't be Mud around here much longer, I'll wager. It's all too easy to forget we're still alive because of people outside our little enclave. But you've helped remind us we're not alone. We're part of the UCA, which means we can't just look to others for assistance. We've got to give back in return, too. And we will. Cool. Recovery request? Resources scattered by the supercell. What? Heard you were at Mama's place. Well, I've got a request for you. Direct from Bridges. There's some cargo, rare materials that got swept up in a supercell and ended up in the bottom of Waterfall. I was just there. Northwest of South Knot. We need you to track it down and get it to the city. Check Mama's terminal for... Oh, okay. This is the one that I did. Got it. By the way, we've seen eyewitness reports of small glowing objects somewhere near the vicinity. Retrieving it's not part of the order, but I thought you be interested regardless. Hate to hit you up direct, but we can't leave that cargo sitting there forever, and you're the best and only man for the job. Did we see any lights there? Are we destroying ourselves? Before you came through, there were people blaming Bridges for our troubles left and right, saying it was their fault terrorists were targeting us more and more. There's no denying that we were. Not after we lost Middle Knot and half of South. Not to mention the other smaller incidents all over. Hell, even our old friend Mama got mixed up in one too. What we've got is new. Was she called Mama before she had the baby? I just want to know. Because... Anyways. Before the Stranding, folks all over had got hard on for stockpiling nukes and other WMDs. Weapons of mass destruction? Frankly, if the world hadn't gone to shit, we'd probably have blown it up by now. I tell you, there's nothing more dangerous and destructive than human beings. Call it morbid, but a part of me wants us to get it over with already. If we're gonna. It's what humanity deserves, isn't it? If the stupidity we've shown in the wake of the Stranding is any indication. Damn, this guy is... buddy. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, buddy. He's like, I don't want to do this job anymore. Bot deliverable. Beauty products for natural looking skin. You know what? Take a bot. How many bots do I have? Oh, just 2. Orders. Do we have it in us to go all the way back here? There was something. This one, I think? I want to do this one. This one, and then the pizza one. It says there's BTs. Yeah. Yeah, it'll just go into my... I'm gonna take one anchor, because I used one. Pretty sure. Gonna use my truck. Load into truck. Load onto back. That's a heckin' lot! Got it. But also the pizza. Pizza all the way to Peter Englert. Whoops. If I put it in my delivered pizza before it gets cold, it's just 60 minutes. I can do that in an hour, surely. Put it in the truck.
Pizzas should always be kept flat during transport, as in level with the ground, to be clear. Keep that in mind before you try to stuff one in a backpack.
Yeah, so
Otherwise,
the truck.
You're liable to make a huge mess.
So the truck. So the truck. Surely it'll be kept flat on the truck. Do they really want it on my back?
Order assigned. Delivery parameters updated. Time limit set.
Yeah. I get dragged out of my truck, so keeping it in the truck is the best course of action.
Pleasant journey. Begin the scans. Have a pleasant journey.
Our truck's fine, right? Brand new? Brand spanking new? Didn't get caught in the rain? Yeah.
Have a pleasant journey.
Why all of a sudden angry music? we need to go here. Which is easy if we go to the junk dealer first. Right. Right. Right.
Weapons restrictions.
Right? I don't remember. Nice bridge, buddy. Glad you used all your materials here and not on the road, like 5 seconds away. So we're going this way to avoid the rain. Not sure if it's raining here either, though. Junk dealer's right around here. I mean, it would be weird if you can't set down the pizza in the truck. Like, that's how people normally deliver pizzas, right? In a vehicle. I just can't store it in the reverse trike because then it's sideways. Ceramics. Oh, it's raining. Yeah, all the way there. Just don't go sideways. Don't. Look at this wonderful driving skills. Ha ha ha. I wonder if it would be best to use like the one where you're carrying it behind you. Jeez. High performance underwear. These guys. People are just losing their underwear left and right. You have a hitch? What it's called? There's like a trike that drags things. Oh, that looks like a scary color scheme. But yes. Alright, there's like sensors here. I just don't fall where.
As a reminder, Sam, when carrying deadly weapons, it's absolutely essential that you exercise restraint. Doubt I need to say it, but killing is off the table. More corpses means more BTs and potentially more void outs. If you kill anyone, you'll be putting not only yourself, but countless other people at risk.
Yeah. Don't kill people. But can I just take them to an incinerator? Just gotta charge my vehicle. Sam Porter bridges wouldn't kill anyone. Marriage sucks. What? You better have JK in that junk dealer. I carried that woman to you.
Sam.
That didn't last long.
Available orders. One moment, Sam. We've just received an urgent distress call.
I got pizza to deliver.
Can't make it back on their own. Looks like they were carrying schematics for a new autonomous bot prototype.
Oh,
We can't afford
I
to
kicked
lose
my phone
those.
again.
Check the order for details.
Got it. Let me deliver all this first. I'm sure it's pretty urgent, but I have pizza to deliver. I can't even go to sleep! Bruh. Take all this stuff. But first, pizza.
Everything all right,
Exactly. I have pizza to deliver.
Looks good as new. My hat's off to you.
Yay. Long range. Oh wait, but that means less cargo. Oh, vehicle color data. We can have a pink Snow White. We can have a pink truck. Yay.
No shame in taking a break from time to time.
Alright.
New order available.
I'm headed to... Not there. Wherever this pizza guy is, right here. Huh? Can I make it there? I don't know where I need to be. Human delivery? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Wait, I have to go back there. No. I'll do that later. I'll go there later. I'm going to this other guy's place first and foremost. Which I think he's near Lake Knot, so I'm doing this. What? What did I accept? Hold on, I don't trust. What did I accept? Antique games, select, and also free Stranding texts. I swear I did these already. Got it. I have a pizza to deliver.
Order assigned.
We'll save you later. I got pizza to deliver. It said something about a body. Like I have to carry a body.
Beginning scan. Have a pleasant journey. Safe travels. Have a pleasant journey.
Thanks. I got places to be.
Weapons restriction
Here, Peter Englert.
lifted.
You can't ask me to come save you while I'm in the middle of a pizza delivery run. I'm gonna prioritize the pizza. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how it goes. It's my bike! When did I get there? Let me up. Oh god. Let me up. Ah! Wait.
If anyone's watching.
Is anyone watching? Guys, is anyone watching? You're telling me no one's contributed to this? Since I was last here? You're joking. What is that purple thing? A vehicle. Oh, ceramics. There's so much ceramics around here. Okay, I have pizza to deliver. I'll get that on the way too. Jeebus. I need this road made. I feel like this road is made for everybody else except me.
Still got it.
You know? Like, why would these signs be here?
Keep on keeping on.
It's just for me. It's not available for me. People playing Death Stranding 2 instead. That's true. Those roads better be built over there. Ellie will get there soon. If those roads ain't built by the time I get to play the game, I'm calling Skamaz. Ooh, an XL delivery for South Knot? I kind of want it, y'all. Wait, where's South Knot? South Knot or Lake Knot? Lake Knot. We're good. I'm not a good Samaritan. Oh, it's raining. Whoa. Why is it raining here? That's weird. I said I was no longer on the power grid, but I was on the road. Ceramics. Metals. Oh, there's so much stuff.
Have a pleasant journey.
Thanks.
What can't you do?
Either my car is really slow or this road got longer. Was this always? I forgot to scan. My bad. Jeebus, leave me alone. It's been 10 minutes since I was supposed to deliver this pizza. It's fine. I have an hour. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine. Look, it's not even raining anymore. Imagine the timefall counts for the pizza. Like, you got hit with the timefall and now it's like moldy by the time we get there. Whoops. No longer on the power grid. Stop playing music. I don't know you like that. I wonder if trikes are the more optimum mode of transportation. I wonder what vehicle other players prefer. I'm a bit of a pack rat, so I love the truck so I can get out and put as much stuff that I find along the way into it. When will this guy join the network? I still have to find that one guy too, the craftsman, I think? Not entirely sure.
Still got it.
I wonder if there's like a quest that I missed to go talk to him. I've been delivering this guy's pizza, but he's not in the network, I don't think.
Beginning
What is that?
Scanning bridges ID. Fragile Express ID.
What is that?
Verified. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure. Cargo verified. Thank you.
I'm here. 12 minutes. So it took me 15 minutes? What? How is the pizza? Did it get messed up?
Delivering cargo. Delivery complete. Displaying performance evaluation.
What? I think it's still good. No damage. Yay! So it can go in the truck. I don't have to carry it. I feel like carrying it would be much worse. Hey, would you like to join the... No? No? Okay. Okay. Just take the pizza. I guess. What's around here?
Weapons restricted.
What are these? Huh?
Yeah, I feel you.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm curious. Hold on, my game is crashing. Is everything okay? I feel like everything is telling me not to go this way. The game, my computer, and yet. Okay, okay. Even the stuff that I have to deliver is telling me not to go there. Fine. 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 I get it! I get it! It's fine! No. No, we don't. We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. What is that place? I'm so curious. This guy just orders pizza and lives right across from there? A toast to a Florida good and true. Okay? You want to explain something to me, buddy? No, but like the fact that my my PC started acting up too.
There you go, speed demon.
How's the audio? Did that mess up the voices at all? Bruh. Kind of concerned now. We'll have to wait for a cutscene. Got it. Do you hear him grunting or talking to himself? What? I'm about to turn in some stuff, so.
Beginning scan.
Good morning, Sam.
Verifying welcome to Lake Knot City. Proceed to distribution center.
Oh. I think it's time. Okay. I have delivery.
All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges.
Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges. I have your action figures, and I don't remember what else. I'm getting real hungry. Make delivery. Requested cargo. Skip.
Hey there. How's it going?
Going good. How are you?
The legend does it again.
Everybody drink
Everything looks to be in
water.
perfect condition. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome. I kind of want to see what that was. What did I do? Why did my PC start making noises? What happened? What happened? Okay.
Always a pleasure, Sam.
This guy has a really friendly face. I like his face. Is it weird to have feelings for bots? I feel like I need to read that right now. Okay, wait, hold on. This one first. Marriage sucks. You still breaking your back hauling shit through the wilderness, Sam? Ever long for a little company? I know I used to. Not anymore. But between you and me, I can't help thinking life was easier back when I was on my own. The freedom to do whatever the hell I wanted. No one pissing and moaning over every little thing. Where does this girl get off being so fussy? I swear, I can't do anything right. Should have seen the fight we had the other night. I tell you, it's true what they say. Familiarity breeds contempt. Don't ever get married. Bruh. Bruh. I think it's a you problem, buddy. Like... Anyways, the materials are back in one piece. You're amazing. I don't know what we'd have done without those materials, and that goes for everyone in the city. Oops. Not just us staff. The Carl network's miraculous, obviously, but there's still a lot of material goods we can't live without. Folks like you are indispensable to our continued survival, and that's a fact. So don't ever think that what you're doing isn't appreciated. We're grateful for everything, Sam. And you can be sure that we'll make good use of all that you brought to build all kinds of new facilities and equipment. You're welcome. A toast to a porter, good and true. My dear Mr. Bridges. Dear gentle reader. Please accept my humblest apologies and my most heartfelt thanks. Once again, your incomparable pizza delivery skills have been put to the proof and found unimpeachable in every regard. Do forgive us, for we seem ungrateful. The visiting couple, twin souls of decorum as they are, were desperate to present themselves to you in holographic form, that they might express their heartfelt appreciation. Regretfully, they are hopeless novices in matters technological, and as I myself was away procuring vital supplies, I was unable to rectify the situation on their behalf. These circumstances conspired to produce the most unfortunate of outcomes yet again. Yet again? A thankless end to an onerous and entirely bothersome task. If it is any consolation, the pizza was divine. A million thumbs up. Thanks. I mean, you're welcome. Is it weird to have feelings for a bot? Oh boy, here we go. Okay. This guy. I like that he's still sending me letters. This stays between you and me, okay? I'm trusting you. Guys, it's a secret. Keep it to ourselves, alright? Right, here goes. Thing is, I've come to have feelings for the delivery bot. Hold on, I gotta reset my face, not laugh. This guy's being vulnerable. We have to be understanding and serious and open. Okay. Nothing weird. Just, you know how people are happy to see you when you drop by and worry about you when you're not around. Well, it's like that for the bots. I can tell them apart. Know their every scratch. Wait, sorry. I'm so sorry, Thomas. Hold on. Every patch. Stop! Wait! Every patch of healing paint. Every little quirk. They have quirks? I know their personalities. And if we lost one, I can't say I wouldn't shed a tear or two. Oh, this guy's serious. Sounds crazy, right? Yeah. No, you're not crazy. You're normal. Thomas, it's fine. It's fine. AIs and bots don't have feelings, but humans can't help it. And convincing myself it's not logical and trying to fight it is easier said than done. Maybe that's why people used to name their cars, because they were more than just tools, you know? Not that you don't understand, you've got a BB. They may tell you it's just equipment, and you may tell yourself that too, but it's not what you believe in your heart of hearts, is it? Okay, but a BB is a living thing, right? Like, it's got memories. It cries, you know? Anyways, but there was this thing. It was like, if you believe it enough, then it's real. Like the connections that you make with things, if you believe it enough, it can affect you mentally the same way real relationships would affect you. So, like, I'm not making fun of this guy. It is funny, but like, anyways, you're good. You're good, Thomas. It's fine.
Says delivery terminal for
You can form attachment to things that are inanimate. It's normal. Same as how you can like mourn items that you lose. If it has like sentimental value, yeah. I want to send these through a bot. I don't want to take these myself. Wait, I have to go here? You're joking. I don't want to do any of these. Alright, we gotta go back to that place. I don't remember where. But there was something we needed to do. It might have been in Lake or this place. Whatever, let's go. Whatever. Should I make a different truck? Or a car? Or something? Wait, hold on. Put this in the garage. Pink? Oh yeah! No, I wanted to use the little bike thingy. Pink car beckons thee. I want to put this away. Store. And then I want to make a new one. Skip! Skip! I can't. Oh, I can skip. Skip! Fabricate. It was this one. A transport trike. I have a lot of materials anyway. lot of ceramics. I'll take it. It was just in my private locker. I'll take it. I'll build something with it. Can I color it? I can't. Pink. Subcolor. Whoa. 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 Eh. Is there gold? It's the wrong pink. Yeah, it is the wrong pink. Should we just do purple so it matches everything? Express purple. Ooh. This'll do for now.
Stand clear.
Ta-da!
Vehicle ready.
Did I have anything in my truck? No, right? What's wrong then? We're gonna go back to the distribution center and then accept that one rescue mission. Rescue some people. At least we match, kind of. Oh gosh. The exoskeleton legs are kind of making him look skinny. Making him look skinny. Is the battery longer for this? Road and structure erosion. Exposure to timefall will gradually erode structures and roads. As things deteriorate, functions will begin to fail, and if the deterioration continues, the structure may be destroyed altogether. Oh. So I'm right. They do go away. I see. Well, this doesn't carry as much as a this doesn't carry as much as a truck. Is it faster? Man, I want a pizza now. I'm skinny. We have to go save that person. I wonder if it can work here. Oh boy. It also doesn't protect cargo from the rain. Did the truck protect the cargo? Because I feel like it didn't. Which would be weird if it didn't. That would be dumb. But like, I feel like it didn't. Keep on keeping on. On the road again. No, don't scan me. Aha! I wonder if people still play this enough to maintain the roads. That's probably why. If I could get at least here to the distribution center, that would be lovely.
Okay, ready to go, Speed Demon.
Do they have to pay for it? Let's see. cost anything? Materials. Are you talking about... It's just... It just takes up materials. I'll take this. I'm going there anyway. Distribution center south of Lake Knot City. That's here, right? That's where I'm going. Where are you going? Right here. Just put it in there. Let's roll. Hop, skip, hop, skip. I just wanted to pick it up.
There we go.
I want to fight another thingy, but that means getting captured. Maybe I should have built that one first. Oh boy. Oh boy. You're fine. Pineapple farm. No, thank you. Jeebus.
Beginning scan.
Oh, I felt like the bike much more than the other thing.
Contaminating sewage. All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges.
Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges. Hello? Am I in the way? Is this better? So picky. Here, go.
So you made it. I gotta hand it to you. Not many guys out there.
Yes, praise
do what
me.
you do. No shame in taking a break from time to time.
A break?
Good work.
Me? Take a break? Delivery, orders, rescue. Then the other thing is that. But I have to come back anyway. So I'll do this first. Oh, there's BT. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Totally fine. So we're gonna do anti-BT handgun. And then a regular handgun. We have 5 sets of granadas. I think we're fine. This is fine. I just wonder, like, they're giving us defense vehicles, and I'm just like, I wonder why. You know? And why do I need defensive vehicles right now? Are they gonna destroy my current vehicle? Lethal anti-personnel weapon. See these?
Use of weapons is prohibited.
You know, I know. Private locker. Actually, yeah, private locker. You can put away my assault rifle. My shotgun. Am I gonna regret this? Because I don't want to kill anyone. Ah, what's happening? It's doing it again. Hello? Something's being weird. Oh, my boots are about to go offload. Let's put a new one on. This Granada can go into the private locker as well. 1 hour march is over. Did you have fun? Did you see a lot of cool stuff? Let's create boots. Just one. Boot clip. Confirm. And then I think we're good. We don't need an assault rifle. Not until they can give us hematic bullets.
Beginning scan. Have a pleasant journey.
Keep on keeping on. We gotta go. Where do we gotta go? Excuse me? Where? Here? Got it.
Weapons restrictions lifted.
So, can I just take this road? See, other people have built these roads. I just didn't play it around the time that they did. Got it. If I cross the bridge... No, don't cross the river. Then I can make it... Oh no, I have to cross. Got it. I could just take what I usually take right here. Skirt around them. So I don't have to fight them. I guess. We're doing a pacifist route. Everyone gets knocked out only.
Still got it.
Beginning scan.
It says it's this way though.
Verify
Oh no.
ID. Weapons restrictions lifted.
What is that? I don't know what that is. I think that's just where the room is. You have to be really good about counter scanning them so they don't come for me. Alright, this is the last charging station. You're joking! I didn't even pass them yet. What do you mean that I already got scanned? Gonna counter scan your scan. Alright, so we're here. I think it's just straight this way. Look at all these trucks. Everybody just decide to leave all their trucks here? Hey, so if we didn't want the bike anymore, we can just take one of these. It's a congregation of trucks. A junk dealer. Hey, he's not too far back. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll deliver this. Too far from my boots. That's fine. I never wanted it. Put it in here. I'm glad I haven't lost my boots yet, you know? Haven't had to run around barefoot. That would have been horrible. Please don't deliver my boots. I don't want them.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure. Cargo verified. Thank you.
I'm back. Crater Lake. Is that nearby? Make delivery, lost cargo. Here you go. Give me a lot of likes. Are y'all happy?
If you hadn't come around, I don't know how we would have managed.
You did good. Thanks.
They seem okay. Speed skeleton level 2. What about strength? I think it's the cosplayer that we need to get into good graces with.
I'll let you know if we have any orders.
Be careful.
Good work. New order.
I want to know... Oh, just standard. I'm going to south. Not there. I'm going to... Isn't that where I just was? No. I'm going to... South not. Where am I going? What? Oh, we're going to the Kyle. Okay. Where is Crater Lake? Is that here? Is this? Or is it this? Cause that's scary. Alright, continuing on to here. Where is that? This way?
Weapons restrictions.
I want to get rid of all those things.
Okay.
Yeah, yoink. Remember when I said I wanted a fight? Please! Let me fight. I'll fight. I know how to fight. Smile. And then coming back will be easy peasy, right? I'd rather get it over with now than have to carry that guy on my back. Oh wait! Wait. That's not what that's about. Okay. Get all your stuff. How do I trigger a fight? Let my stuff go! Ah! Y'all. Okay. But wait. What? I don't have anything! Okay. Okay. Wait. I do have stuff. Granada first. Oh, that is strong. Okay. This is what I wanted, right? Right? This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Oh, it's red. Because of me blood. So the granadas use up a lot of blood. Let's use it. Where is it? I don't have my level 2 on me. Come out wherever you are. Hello. Whee! Oh, it's far. High ground. What is happening? Oh, wait. Hey, this is my spot. You can't hide here. Go away. I call dibs. I guess I'll go over there. It just gets up there and like looks at me. Why would you put your gun away? Sam Porter Bridges. Sam Porter Bridges. Easy. Easy peasy. Now give me your Cairo crystals. Call me a BT hunter. See, now it's gonna be fine getting that guy to... carrying that guy on the back. There wasn't like a helper this time though. Not sure what chemicals are for. But I'll take it. No help. No helping, no helping. Hey, we may be covered in gunk, but at least our hat is pristine. Am I right? We didn't lose any cargo. This is perfect. See? Now it's safe to transport that guy. It was all calculated, actually. Oh, gosh. Just up this hill. It may smell a little funky fishy. Because there's so much dead fish. Jesus, this universe must smell really bad. Hey look! Somebody's car. Or truck. And it's pure gold. Would be a shame if someone yoinked it. Approaching destination. Oh. Stop playing music. So, where are you? Is that you?
Sam,
Hey.
there's someone in your position. Did you see them?
Oh. Hey, buddy. Hey, don't die, okay?
Looks like they're secure. Now bring them home.
Right. Oh. I was trying to. All my stuff. Should I go back for one of those trucks after all? All my stuff. Offload. 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 My stuff. What can I have? I can get rid of my bola. Then. What do I have on me? I still have all my granadas. That's fine. Man, this guy must feel so comfortable having all these granadas strapped to his chest. PCCs. I have 2 PCCs. I don't need 2 PCCs. What do I want to take with me? I don't need 2 PCCs. Maybe just 1. A bola gun, at least? I can't, it's too big. Oh, okay, sure. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. I can just make these again. Smile. Alright, buddy. It's gonna be a smooth ride. All the way to... All the way to where? All the way to... Stop playing music. Please. Are you happy, baby? Gosh. Oh, I have room in my little cargo thing. Geez, the one time that I stopped using a truck, game decides to be like, hey, you actually need it. I'm gonna go here. This way. This way. It's lovely because now we don't have to fight with this guy on our back. Please don't rain. Look at another trike. This is a very groovy song. No, my stuff. At least it's very listenable. Oh. Cancel. Okay, it negated the scan. Hey, it usually ends like when I reach something, but I guess it ends when you reach this too. Rip VOD, just that part. I tried not to speak so that nothing I say gets muted. Pretty groovy song though. I believe you can deliver people as cargo. What?
Right on.
South Knot City. That's too far. I need to go find that guy. The guy I haven't seen yet. He's not part of the network, but I don't think I have any quests for him.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID.
We made it.
Clear. Web contaminating soup. All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges.
Sam Porter Bridges. Not sure what. Put it back. Put it back, Sam Porter Bridges. I was trying to like. Delivery. Here is your guy. Do we just like roll him through the thing? No. Okay. Oh. We got a like. We gave a like. Oh no, you guys didn't see. He did a thumbs up. See, perfect. We fought the thing beforehand so that it was a buddy bot.
Sam. Thanks to you, that porter's still breathing. We've also managed to complete a working prototype for a new type of autonomous delivery bot. Feel free to fabricate one for yourself. Be advised, however, that you can only have a single unit active in a given region.
Friend? Friend?
Hey, Daddy-O.
Kim, thank you for the raid. I'm actually about to end too. Thank you for the raid. How's your stream? Let's see. The next thing we need to do is this one. Do we have to go through BTs? We do. Bruh. Ugh. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. That's a problem for another day. I'm actually about to end. So, thank you for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. Hello. Welcome. My name is Ellie. I stream Monday to Wednesday. From 11 to 2 PST. So, yeah. I hope you guys had fun in your stream. And yeah, I'm about to go. I gotta go. I'm hungry. Everybody take a sip of water for me. I'm trying to do a lot of hydrating today because I got caught in the rain and I don't want to get sick. Hello Acricola, welcome in. Camraid! What was the stream? What were you guys playing? What were you guys doing? How was it? Ah, thank you for the hydrate. I actually finished my first cup of tea. This is my second, and it's about half full. So I think I did a good job. Yum. Fall Guys. Did you win? I haven't played Fall Guys in a while. Actually, I can count on one hand how many times I've won. So I can tell you how good I am at Fall Guys. I think when they started adding like the crowns, I have no idea anything else about it after that. So yeah, but I hope you guys had fun. I don't want to go do this right now because it's gonna take me forever, but I am looking forward to doing it tomorrow maybe. I'm not sure how long I want to wait actually for the Dune update. So tomorrow might be Dune. We'll see. Or it might be this again. We shall also see. The only time when it was possible to win in Fall Guys was shortly after it was released. Right? I haven't been able to win after that, I'll be honest. I think I had to have my friends carry me. I think Bree and Taya are really good at Fall Guys, and then I just immediately die. I feel really bad playing with them. Because then it's like, I lose immediately, and then if my score isn't high enough, then they lose too. I feel really bad. I don't use the speed... Oh. Buddy bots are ambulatory robots that operate within the chiral network. They have a number of different modes, including follow mode, in which they follow Sam around, and deliver mode, in which they automatically deliver cargo to its destination. You can switch between modes at any time by selecting the Buddy Bot's icon on your cufflinks map. So will they just be out and about? Kinda uses a lot of materials. We have a lot of ceramics. If we really wanted that road, we could yoink some ceramics from this facility. Let's see. Oh, my stuff. I don't know what these chemicals are for. Let's yoink the chemicals and put them in here. Can I recycle them into here? Do we know what they're for yet? I don't think I've used anything with them. I think we're good on everything else. Chemicals. I have to build new stuff, right? Because I lost them all from that transport. Right, I don't have anything anymore. Got it. Okay. We'll build stuff and then... I don't know. Do we feel safer on the bike or on the truck? I think I like the truck more than the bike. Please don't show me. Bridget. Ew. I just look away now. I can't stand her face. That sounds mean, but she just stares and it's creepy. Okay, let's make... So, because I know I'm not gonna remember, especially if I play Dune tomorrow, I'm not gonna remember to, like, grab enough stuff for me. So at least one PCC to make a charger, right? I have one. At least one climbing anchor, at least one ladder. I think I have a lot of blood bags in my private locker. We're good on boots. What else did we drop? Just weapons? We couldn't take the bola gun. I'll take one bola gun. It's good for people, because I don't want to shoot them. I have one handgun. One anti-BT handgun. I'm so concerned about using the handgun on PTs. Do it for her. No thanks. Oh, we need a mod that changes that face to latte? What face? Oh! Bridget's face. Yeah, I wish. Hey, if you can set it up for me. If you can set it up for me, that would be lovely. I have 2 assault rifles? No. These are all in my private locker. On my back. On my back. Right, so I have this, but it's 1 out of 8 for the anti-BT gun. And then my handgun. I feel like this isn't enough. I feel like I need more. Okay, private locker. Blood bag in my utility pouch. What else? Should I recycle this? I don't want to see your face again. I don't want to see your face again. Okay. So we're full on the blood bags. Let's maybe donate this. And what else? Okay, we're donating the anti-BT handgun, which means we need to make another one. And I think that's a good compromise instead of having to see Bridget's face again. What was it? An anti-BT handgun. Just one. I don't expect to fight BTs constantly, though I don't mind it. I actually prefer it, because then I can just go without being scared, right? So... And then... That's it.
Thank you for your contribution.
The next thing we need to go to is here. Should we just accept it now? I feel like if I accept it now, it'll count for my time. And that's what's been taking down my time score. So yeah, I'll accept it next time. But for now, I can have delivery bots do some delivering to these pesticides. Yeah, I don't want to have to go there. Here you go. Accept your pesticides. Pesticide delivery. I think I have one more that I can send out. Oh, these guys are not getting any love from me. Sorry. Here you go. Just the bots. Alright. I think we should also shower. Because we are a mess. A stinky, dirty mess. I want to change our color schemes too. Maybe next week. I feel like each week we should have like a specific color. So this week was purple. Nothing spooky in our shower. Right. Right. Oh my god. There's nothing in our shower, right?
Good morning, Sam. Blood collection complete.
Ever since that, I have not been able to like... Okay, okay. Shower time. Skip, skip.
EX grenade.
I have so much EX grenades. But like, why would I bring it? It's so heavy. I think we have one letter, and then we'll get off. Owen Southwick. So I read the report on the crater you threw that nuke into. Pretty interesting stuff. There's never been much volcanic activity in the sector, in that whole region, in fact. We don't have complete records from before the Stranding, so it's mostly speculation. But the report suggested that it might be a void-out crater that filled up with tar. That it might even be a conduit to the underside. What? Which would mean that whatever you throw in there would wind up on the beach. But again, that's just my speculation. So the crater... Is the crater lake where we need to throw that guy's stuff into? Maybe we should do that. Could be we don't understand a damn thing about the crater or the tar or any of it. I want to get a truck so we can throw that guy's stuff in it. Alright. Well, I hope you guys had fun. It's my time to go. Let me give Kem a follow. Because I haven't yet. Thank you, Kem, for the raid again. I hope you had a good stream. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Follow. There we go. What was I saying? Yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's about it. And thank you for the hydrate. Let me do that right now, right before I end. No. Oh, that was a big gulp. I almost finished my tea. That's a good thing. Try not to get sick. It's getting cooler around here, so I'll be walking around more. Thank goodness, but yeah. Anyways, this VOD will be up on YouTube. VOD watchers, if you see this, I appreciate you. I will see